For over a decade, my hormones were flatlined. And I'm talking almost no sex hormones are registering on saliva tests or blood tests. And I only had 5 natural periods in over 10 years. Every doctor I saw said the same things. Your hormones are too low. You should be on the pill. You should be eating a high-calorie diet. Try this supplement or this thyroid medication. Or here's another test. But nothing changed until I stopped focusing solely on what I needed to do to raise my hormone levels and started focusing on the habits that were quietly draining them every single day. Today I'm sharing the 8 daily habits I dropped that finally healed my hormones naturally. And I promise they're not what you think. Most women are told that hormone problems come from malfunctioning ovaries or genetics, PCOS, not eating enough fat or protein, thyroid issues, or aging. But the truth is, your hormones get out of balance when your adrenals weaken. Your adrenals make around 60 hormonal blends, including the bulk of your sex hormones. So when they are constantly being pushed, poked, and drained over a period of time, hormone production becomes irregular. And the wild part, most of us are doing things every single day that absolutely exhaust them. And I would actually say that society encourages these habits because they're so ingrained in our culture now. So let's go through the 8 habits that I let go of, and the ones your adrenals will thank you for letting go of too. Habit number 1, caffeine. I know this one hurts. I was never an avid coffee drinker, but I was a green tea addict. I'm talking 12 green teas a day. For years, I believed green tea was harmless and even healthy. But medical medium explains that your body sees caffeine as a toxin, and every sip triggers an adrenaline dump to neutralize that toxin. Adrenaline might feel like energy, but it's actually your adrenals being forced to come to the rescue again and again. And for someone like me with already flatlined hormones, caffeine was like pouring gasoline on an already dying fire. When I removed caffeine, I honestly didn't feel that good at first. I didn't realize how much I was relying on that artificial boost to mask my chronic fatigue so I could get through my workday. But once I dropped caffeine and actually started supporting my body properly, everything shifted. Within about 2 weeks, my system finally began to calm, and my hormonal baseline finally had a chance to rise instead of constantly being pushed into survival mode. For me, the medical medium morning cleanse was a game changer for breaking the caffeine habit. And this worked really well for my husband too. I actually made a video on this cleanse and I'll put it in the description below. It gave my body the hydration, glucose, minerals, and antiviral support it needed to fight the root cause of my chronic fatigue and to build real, natural energy. And if caffeine withdrawal feels unbearable, which is very common, peppermint tea can actually help. The phytochemicals in mint stimulate the same receptor cells that caffeine hits. This way, it can mimic the familiar sensations and dramatically reduce withdrawal symptoms and cravings. And this all happens while your adrenals finally get a chance to rest. Habit 2, eating only 3 meals a day. This is another big one that is considered very normal and is ingrained in our society. But going long stretches without food, as in longer than 90 minutes or 2 hours, leads to blood sugar drops. And when your blood sugar crashes, guess who steps in? Your adrenals. They pump out adrenaline to keep your brain functioning. But here's what may surprise you. You can feel totally full, but still be in the middle of a blood sugar crash. High-fat, high-protein meals sit in the stomach for a very long time. They give you the illusion of fullness, even when your cells, organs, and reproductive system are starving for the glucose that they desperately need. Because fullness doesn't necessarily equal fuel. The real solution is lowering dietary fat so that your hunger signals become accurate again. And yes, you'll feel hungry more often. Not because something's wrong, but because your food is actually able to leave the stomach and your body is finally able to communicate its real need for glucose. This is your body getting back into alignment, receiving the steady stream of fruit, potatoes, leafy greens, and natural sugars it's been asking for all along. My way of keeping myself fueled was simple but life-changing. I sipped on a fruit-based smoothie all day long, and I'd load some of those smoothies with leafy greens and things like dulse, barley grass juice powder, and spirulina as well. I brought at least 4 liters of smoothies with me every day to work, plus my lunch, and I just grazed on them throughout the day. Pro tip, you're gonna need a huge lunch bag, and people are probably gonna make fun of you for it. But for the first time in my life, my blood sugar actually stayed steady, and my adrenals finally got the break that they were begging for. No more afternoon crash, no more shaky, wired, foggy feeling, just this calm, solid, grounded energy that I never experienced in the traditional 3 meals a day pattern. This one change alone made a massive difference in my hormone healing. Habit 3, extreme heat and cold hacks. Hot yoga, long sauna sessions, cold plunges, and showers. I used to do all of them because health experts said that they were amazing for the body, and I thought it would be a secret weapon to help balance my hormones. But here's the truth. Extreme temperatures shock the body, and that shock triggers a specific adrenaline blend that regulates your internal heat. So yes, your heart races, your breathing changes, and your energy spikes, but it's all adrenaline driven. What's wild is that the more I did these extreme heat and cold activities, the more I craved them. And that's because there's a mild euphoria that comes from these huge waves of adrenaline flooding your body. At the time, I mistook these feelings for healing. I thought, wow, I feel so alive, this must be good for me. But in reality, I was feeding my adrenal fatigue and worsening my hormonal imbalance like crazy. Once I understood what was really happening, everything just made so much more sense. When I swapped out these extremes for simple, gentle movement in normal room temperature environments, my nervous system became noticeably calmer, and so did my hormones. Habit 4, high-fat diets. This one turned everything around for me. I used to eat tons of avocados, nuts, seeds, oils, and other clean proteins because I thought it supported hormones based on what all the experts were saying. But a high-fat diet actually thickens your blood and makes it way harder for critical glucose to get into your brain and reproductive organs. So your adrenals step in again, pumping out more adrenaline to act as backup fuel. When I cut out most of the fats, I felt my energy shift in ways I hadn't in years, if ever. This was the first change I made that really showed me I was on the right track. And the longer I kept my fats low, the more I saw the signs that my hormones were coming back online. Way less fatigue, deeper sleep, a calmer mood, and even an increase in my libido. All subtle signs that my body and my adrenals were finally getting the critical glucose they needed to rebuild instead of just survive. Habit 5, intense workouts. This was one of the toughest ones for me because when I learned what HIIT training was doing to my adrenals, I already had a group fitness gym membership and I really enjoyed working out with my husband. Although I always felt bagged after for days and I could never figure out why. But the truth is, intense exercise creates an adrenaline storm, especially when you're under eating, skipping snacks, or running on caffeine. And if your adrenals are already weak like mine were, those workouts might feel energizing in the moment or right after, but then the crash hits. In my case, sometimes for days. But I just kept working out because I thought that maybe I just didn't have an exercise tolerance yet. Some women don't get that dramatic crash like I did, but that doesn't mean those high-intensity workouts aren't draining the adrenals behind the scenes. They still create those huge adrenaline surges that weaken hormonal output over time. For women without hormonal issues, high-intensity workouts can absolutely have some benefits, as long as they're avoiding caffeine and fueling properly. But when you're in healing mode, when your adrenals are trying to rebuild, it's a completely different story. You need movement that supports healing, not movement that pushes your body into survival mode. When I switched to walking, light cycling, gentle yoga, and rebounding, I actually became stronger. My sleep improved, my nervous system calmed down, and the crashes, those day-long crashes that pretty much ruined my life, finally stopped. Habit 6, alcohol. We all know alcohol isn't great, but the culture around us really normalizes it. We're told that a little here and there won't hurt, and that the social benefits outweigh the downside. And honestly, I was never a big drinker. I might have 1 or 2 glasses of wine once a week or once every couple of weeks with friends and family. But what I learned from medical medium completely changed the way I saw alcohol. Even tiny amounts create fake glucose spikes in the brain. Your brain thinks it's getting fuel, and then it realizes it's actually a toxin, not glucose. That's when the body triggers emergency adrenaline to protect the brain. If not, we'd be looking at a lot of brain tissue damage. And again, the more adrenal drain, the more hormonal chaos. Even small, innocent amounts of alcohol can be huge setbacks when you're trying to heal your hormones. Removing alcohol became one of the hidden keys that finally allowed my hormones to rebuild, instead of constantly reacting and trying to keep up with the stress load. Habit 7, scary and suspenseful movies. This one surprised me the most. Thrillers are actually the genre that my husband and I could actually agree on, so changing this habit took some intention. But honestly, shifting my habits away from suspenseful TV and shows ended up helping me watch way less TV overall, which was a bonus for my nervous system. Because every time your heart jumps, your muscles tense, or you're on the edge of your seat, that's adrenaline. And when you're trying to heal weakened adrenals, those spikes matter. They may seem small and harmless, but they add up and they absolutely affect hormone balance. So while I was healing, I switched to calm, uplifting, feel-good shows. And the emotional stability and hormone regulation that followed actually shocked me. My whole system felt quieter, steadier, lighter. And I was starting to get better sleeps too. And the wildest part, once you go without thrillers for a while, you really notice how intense they feel when you go to watch one. It's almost like your body shows you how much they are impacting you all along. Habit 8, late nights. This one was tough for me because I always identified as a night owl. And if you've had weakened adrenals for a long time, you'll probably relate. Your best energy of the entire day tends to show up late at night. So of course you want to use it. It feels like the only time you can actually function. But here's what I didn't know. Your adrenals do their prime healing between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And if you're awake during that window, stimulated, thinking, scrolling, cleaning, watching TV, or even emotionally activated, your adrenals never fully drop into that deep repair mode. I had to be really intentional about this. I created a bedtime routine that actually supported healing. Winding down earlier, taking a nice bath, dimming the lights, avoiding TV before bed, reading or listening to an audiobook, or doing a bedtime meditation. Those rituals slowly shifted my bedtime earlier over time. Another surprising one was avoiding emotionally triggering conversations at least an hour before bed. Just one intense discussion was enough to activate my adrenals and keep me up for hours. And look, there were many nights I couldn't fall asleep, even though I was exhausted and doing everything right. But even then, just lying in a dark room and resting my body and nervous system, it still counted. And that still gave my adrenals the chance to heal. This is one of the most underestimated hormone healing habits, and one of the most transformative when you're trying to bring your hormones back online. The mindset shift that really helped me understand how to actually live in a way that heals your hormones was this. What keeps me feeling calm and steady? Hormone healing, real hormone healing, isn't about chasing highs, quick bursts of energy, or doing what feels stimulating in the moment. It's about creating an internal environment where your body feels safe, predictable, supported, and steady. I started asking myself simple questions throughout the day. Does this make my body feel calmer or more stressed? Does this help me feel grounded or wired? Is this supporting my adrenals or jolting them? And slowly my lifestyle became less about pushing for energy spikes and adrenaline hits to survive, and more about building consistency, gentleness, and rhythms that help my hormones rebuild. It's really about keeping as much as you can in your life regular, regulated, and aligned with your natural energy, instead of constantly forcing your body into peaks and valleys. I spent well over a decade believing my body was broken, that my hormones were just low and that I couldn't fix them. I truly thought that I was some special case that could never be healed, and my doctors didn't give me any confidence in that regard either. But the moment I stopped unintentionally draining my adrenals and started intentionally supporting them, everything changed. My hormones returned naturally, my period came back, my energy came back, my mood, my libido, my emotional stability, all of it transformed. And honestly, my whole life transformed. Also, a year into supporting my body, I actually got pregnant after experiencing years of infertility. Your life can transform too. One habit, one shift, one choice at a time. If you've got all of these other symptoms that you're really struggling to understand, make sure you grab my free guide, the Why Am I Not Getting Pregnant Symptom Decoder. I'll put the link below. And if this video hit home, make sure you hit subscribe so that you don't miss next week's fertility healing video. You've got this, and your body is rooting for you every single day. I'll see you in the next video.